Christmas is almost here. We've got your top picks for gifts as well as movies. I'm Daniel Parish.
And I'm Andrew Steele. We'll also be taking a look at a new technological advancement in the field of tailgating, along with a look at the Golden Compass and the last week of Heroes.
You're watching Nacho Tacho.
We have our senior Mass Effect correspondent, Dalton Palmer, in the studio today to take a look at the latest RPG from BioWare, Mass Effect.
All right, so welcome to the show, Dalton.
It's good to be back.
Okay, so Mass Effect, the new RPG from BioWare.
Yeah.
You've played it. What are your opinions?
It's pretty well done. It's a departure from BioWare's usual RPG style, as in it's real time, as opposed to the older Knights of the Old Republic franchise, in which it would all be turn-based.
Right, and turn-based is where you would select a move to do, and it would go and do it, instead of you actually physically doing everything yourself.
Right. Mass Effect is a shooter, third person, of course, and you get to travel around with a party of two,
right,
extras, as with the Knights of the Old Republic stuff.
Okay.
And you get to go through various upgrades for the weapons. Each weapon has a set amount of upgrades. You can get ammo types, and there's unlimited ammo.
So, about the world of it, I've heard a lot of things about the specific graphics that it's been using. Is it a step up from everything that we've seen so far on the 360?
It's not really a step up. Compared to a lot of other games, it's not going to win any contests in graphical appeal. But it is a very well-designed game when it comes to the looks. And it's just interesting to see all the different planets and all that. But the only problem most people have with it is the planets eventually just come down to, a lot of them are generic, and then they'll copy on a new color to be, a snow planet or a fire planet or something like that.
So what sets this apart from other games?
It's really neat how they work it. They include a lot of different powers for different classes.
Powers as in what?
Well, a lot of them seem like they were taken from the Star Wars universe, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
But it's just a neat combination of the gunplay with the different abilities you get. Like, some things only work on certain enemies, and other abilities work in any situation.
Now, you keep saying abilities. These abilities are what?
Well, they depend on your class. If you play an adept, for example, you will get something called biotics, which they pertain to a lot of things, almost like magic, without being magic.
That's kind of neat. So, one major thing about Mass Effect is not only its new gameplay that has revolutionized the RPG world into the third-person shooter world, but also they've talked a lot about the actual story for Mass Effect.
Right, the story actually, it's very neat. At the beginning of the game, you choose an origin and a psychological map for your character.
Mm-hmm.
And those affect the story mode for you. For example, I know my friend played it, and he got a mission that I never saw because of his origin. But the Renegade Paragon system, which is a lot like the good and evil system BioWare uses a whole lot, doesn't really play into this very much. It plays into the story, but if you're completely renegade, you're not going to get any renegade-only powers or anything like that.
Right. So replayability. If you can change all that stuff, it seems like it'd be able to replay hundreds of times.
Yes, and with the 360's achievements thing, should you get, say, an achievement with the assault rifle, all the other classes that might not be able to use the assault rifle, should you make another one, can now use it.
Okay. Well, that's good. So on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, what would you give it?
I'd give it a 4.
4 stars? So it's 4 out of 5 stars for Dalton and all of us here at Nacho Tacho for Mass Effect. So, all right, thanks, Dalton. All right, it's good to have you. In honor of the holiday season, we've picked a few of our favorite holiday films. Here they are in order. We've got, first up, Elf. All right, so Andrew, Elf, a brand new classic film. Well, it's not brand new, but it's newest of on our list. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, I generally like Will Ferrell in general, but I thought this was probably his best movie that I've seen. I mean, I like Talladega Nights, I like Anchorman and all that. But I mean, this doubled as, a great holiday film. He does really great, does acting in it. It's got a lot of great other actors in it. And it generally just adds to the story, just adds something that most other holiday films have.
Right, and it's hilarious. It is most definitely one of the funniest movies here on our list, and I love every minute of it. All right, next on our list we have A Christmas Story, which is, of course, another holiday favorite. This one a little bit older, but so Andrew?
Well, I mean, I know I always wanted a Red Ryder BB gun, Red Ryder BB gun even, and I just like. I mean, it does kind of get awkward at times. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the atmosphere and the way that the movie's made. It's being an older film, but it's definitely a holiday classic. It's always on TV. It's a great movie.
Right. It's hilarious. It's one of those that everybody remembers stuff from.
Yeah.
It's like, you'll shoot your eye out. Everybody knows that line. And my favorite part is probably when he goes up to the Santa Claus at the mall and ho, 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 and he just pushes him back down the little slide for climbing all the way back up.
I gotta tell you, that's one of the parts I was talking about. That elf freaks me. It freaks me out. It's a creepy elf.
There's a lot of creepy Christmas movies out there now. And look at that face right there. That's not a pleasant face either. Okay, third on our list is another hilarious comedy classic or holiday classic, Scrooged.
Now, I like Scrooge because, Bill Murray.
Right.
I like most of his, Groundhog Day, Ghostbusters, all great films. It's just a funny film because, he seems like a guy that could be a kind of a jerk.
Right.
He's got that kind of character, and he plays Scrooge well. I think I like it, especially since it's adapted to, more of a modern day.
Yeah, a more modern day version of the tale. And it's one of those tales that everybody knows, a story that everyone's familiar with, but it's got that little twist to it that just makes it new and novel and something that everybody can relate to and really enjoy, especially around the holidays.
Yeah, I especially like the scene where he's in the elevator with the Grim Reaper.
Oh, and it opens up.
Yeah, I like that scene. That's fun.
Funny movie. Funny movie. All right, number 4, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Hilarious. I think all the movies on our list are actually comedies.
Yeah.
But, all right, so what do you think?
Well, I mean, the National Lampoon, National Lampoon's kind of a hit and miss kind of thing.
It's either on or it's not.
Some of their stuff's kind of raunchy, just in the first place. It's more like a porn
than anything
movie.
else.
But this is a good film. I mean, it's got like the crazy relatives that everybody's got. One or two
Everybody
relatives,
can relate to.
Yeah, that you only see during the holidays, and maybe not quite that extreme, but
it's definitely one of their hits, and definitely a hit with me. Okay, number 5, and to round out our top 5, Muppets Christmas Carol.
Everybody likes Kermit.
I know. I mean, I'm 18 years old, and I still thoroughly enjoy the Muppets and all Muppet things.
Beaker's just the greatest. I was going to say it right now. He's probably the greatest
I guess.
puppet character ever.
Not just Muppet, puppets in general. Okay.
Yes, puppets in general. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, it's the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Everybody's seen it, and if you haven't, you need to, because it's a family classic, a holiday movie that everyone needs to see and enjoy. All right, and that rounds out our top 5. So we come up with our honorable mentions. First off, 8 Crazy Nights. It's not exactly a Christmas movie like all the other ones. It's a Hanukkah movie, but it's hilarious nonetheless. I mean, I'm not Jewish, but it doesn't stop me from celebrating the holiday. That's a line from there. So Adam Sandler, he's a little bit for the mature audiences.
Yeah.
But
it's definitely an off-color movie.
Yeah, there's not really
especially scenes with the deer in them.
Yeah, but hilarious movie. Definitely a holiday classic. Definitely on our list. And the last 3 honorable mentions, well, I guess last 2, would be the Die Hard 1 and 2. Of course, and then Batman Returns. They're not exactly Christmas movies, but they take place around Christmas time. So everybody needs to just go out, see all these movies, and enjoy your holiday season. All right. Yeah.
Stephanie Yingst, our senior Golden Compass expert, tells us her views on New Line Cinema's latest film.
All right, so we're here with Stephanie. Thanks for joining us. She's usually our music lady, but today she's doubling for Golden Compass. So you've seen the movie?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have twice.
Did you read the books?
Yes.
Well, all of them?
All of them several times.
Okay, so you're a fan.
Yes, definitely.
All right, there was a lot of controversy with this movie as it first came out because
Quite a
people
bit.
kept saying, you know, oh, it's anti-religious, it's anti-church, and in the books it obviously is. But what about the movie?
The movie is definitely watered down a lot. They've taken out a lot of references to the church and the Bible itself. It still retains sort of a small anti-Catholic church feel to it, but they've mostly taken out everything and left it as a kid's movie.
When you say anti-Catholic, what does it do?
Definitely, throughout the first book, there's a lot of references to the church and the magisterium, which is a big association of just religious figures trying to control everyone in the general populace.
And did they take that out of the movie, or?
No, the magisterium is still there, but it's never referred to as the church. So they get rid of a lot of.
So it's less of a religious affiliation, more of a just group of people trying to control the world.
Definitely.
Yeah. And a big thing about this movie is that they did use a lot of computer graphics to make it, like all the polar bears and.
Oh yeah.
Well, how did that all look?
I would say there were a few times when I kind of lost my suspension of belief. But honestly, like, they did a very good job. They did a very good job with the voiceovers and the graphics themselves.
Okay, and what about specifically all the animals? They used a lot of animals in that movie.
Yes, every human being in the movie has an animal counterpart. So there was a lot of computer-generated graphics. A lot.
And how did that go over with the audience? Did everyone seem to like that?
Definitely. The children's animals, they're demons, can change shape. So you have a ferret that changes color from like one moment to the next.
Cool. And so what about the actual story?
The actual story itself is obviously very interesting. It's taken from a book, so there's a lot of facets. It feels sometimes like the movie is rushed through. A lot of the plot lines kind of get skipped over, and you can tell it was an adaptation. But other than that, they did a really good job.
Right, but that happens a lot of time with books
yeah.
to movie
Definitely.
versions. Okay, so what do you say? Is that a holiday classic for this year? Definitely go out and see?
It was decent. I would definitely go to see the movie to support it and just to find out about the controversy and see what you think about it.
But all right, so star rating, 1 to 5.
I would give it a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. All right. So that's very good. All right, thanks, Stephanie. All right, we'll see you in a little bit for music.
All right.
After the break, we have Manly Meals and our comic picks of the week in the Literature Hour. So don't touch that remote.
Welcome back from the break. We've taken a break from the studio, and now we're here in the kitchen for Manly Meals.
Today we're going to be cooking some brownies. We've chosen funfetti for our holiday mix, and so let's see what you need.
I was talking to somebody last night, and they're talking about how their wife doesn't like him playing video games. I was like, did you try beating her? and he was like, no, because she fights back.
Alright, first step, you want to go ahead and always follow the directions on the box. But our box says that we need half cup of oil, a fourth cup of water, and 2 eggs, and just mix everything together. Pretty simple, right?
Right.
Alright. And stick your whisk in there, and then just stir it around, right?
It says stir for 50 strokes.
So we'll stir for 50 strokes. 48, 49, and 50. The box says to stir for 50 times, so you're going to stir however many times it says on the box. And then, after you've done all your stirring and mixing together, you're going to take this, you're going to pour it into your pan, you're going to put it in your preheated oven, and let them bake for the amount of time. After that's done, you're going to put on your pot holders, turn off the oven, reach in, and pull out your nice, home-baked, fresh-made brownies.
As you can tell, we didn't actually make these brownies. We just figured that you messed up somehow along the process. So just go down to Myers or your other local, food store and pick up some cosmic brownies like we did.
Better than anything you probably could have made anyway. They're ice.
All right, back to the studio.
Didn't that look delicious? We've got your top 3 comic picks for this week, and here they are. First one on the list of the week is Avengers Initiative Annual #1. Alright, now this is the first annual the Avengers Initiative has done. An initiative has come from the Civil War, it spawned off from that, and it's a tie-in to Secret Wars, which we talked about last time from Avengers Illuminati. So Andrew, what'd you think? You got any ideas about the Avengers Initiative? Do you like it?
Well, I like the idea because it ties into the other ones. Something I would like to see, which they may or may not do, is for them to reveal the Illuminati to everybody else, to say that these people contacted us, and this is what we're doing because of it.
Right, because up till now, the Illuminati has been completely secret from everyone but each other, and although this isn't a specific Illuminati book, it's no doubt gonna have to do with the Illuminati because they are the new Avengers Illuminati, which has spawned from the regular Avengers, and this is an Avengers book. And also, if it's a tie-in to the Secret Invasion, I mean, it's gotta be in there. So if they get revealed, I think that would be a pretty cool thing too. But then you get the fact that there's going to be a lot of people that aren't, like, specifically in the world, not regular people. A lot of people, like, say, from the X-Men or from the new Avengers that are going to not like that.
Yeah, and I think if they introduce that and expose that, that's going to expand into all of them, especially with the, was it the Destiny, the gems?
Gauntlet?
Yeah, the gauntlets. Because, I mean, that's a big thing in that universe.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that affects everything. People, eventually that's going to uncover. I mean, if one thing comes undone, then the rest of it's eventually going to, surface. So I think that, I think it opens up, if they do that, a lot of things. Of course, we don't know that yet. We don't know what they're planning on.
That's true. We don't know anything yet. But it's definitely a book you need to head out to your local comic shop and pick up. All right, next on the list, we have House of M Avengers. Now, House of M was over, like, seriously, about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I'm really wondering why they're just now coming out with this. They had House of M New Avengers, so I'm wondering how this is going to differ.
Well, I mean, the House of M series that affected a lot of things, didn't it?
Right. House of M, when it pretty much started the Civil War, I guess you could say, because with the whole No More Mutants, started the 198, sent it into Sentinel Squad 1, and the Office of National Emergency was founded, and so it's sent shockwaves throughout the Marvel Universe. But I'm really wondering where they're going to go with this, because being so long after the original series, I don't know. It's another book that, like, if you didn't read The House of M, it might be just a book you could pick up to see exactly what this is going to be. Because right now, we don't know. We don't know where it's coming from or what it's about.
Yeah, all right.
And rounding out the picks of the week, Elephant Man Toy Wars. War Toys, excuse me. I haven't read Elephant Man in a long time. I picked up a couple issues towards the beginning. And it's put out by Image Comics, which a lot of people don't know about, but they make a lot of good stuff, like Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah. And, Walking Dead's a big favorite here. Nacho Tacho, both read it when it comes out. I like Battle Pope, even though that's a little bit out there.
Yeah.
It's my, it sits here and just ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
But what is exactly Elephant Man? I mean, I don't really know anything about it.
Well, Elephant Man, it's the thing about Image Comics is they don't have writers per se on staff for them. What they do is people will send in their books to them and say, this is what I've written, this is what I can do, and then they'll say, yeah, we'll pay to put your book out if you give us the rights and stuff. So that's what this is. Somebody out there loves comic books. They decided to make it, and Elephant Men is they're these super beings that were created for wars and all this terrible, terrible things, and they're elephants in pretty much human form.
Gannott and Marvin Williams, go to the media center, please. Mr. Gannott, Mr. Williams, go to the media center, please.
You should switch the camera to or something. And after they were created and used for all these wars, eventually they kind of became outdated and they weren't used anymore. So a lot of these stories come from them, which are about like just them trying to come back into the regular world and be along with the rest of the humans, because they are essentially human. They're humanoid. So it's got a lot of sadness in there because they're trying to emerge with everybody else, but it just doesn't work so well. And it's a really good book. It's got action. They usually tell 2 stories in every book, so it's like you get double for your money, which is always nice to get. And so I'm really interested in this because Elephant Men is a great book, so go out and pick those 3 up.
Well, that explains. I always wondered that with the Image Comics, you see like the graphic style changes, and sometimes the stories don't really go with each other. It seems like just these separate little short stories that they got. Something else is, from what I understand, so it's sort of like World War Z, where it's got the different viewpoints from the different people, but it's all kind of one thing that.
Right. They tell different stories, usually about 2 per comic. And it's really neat, the style they do it. It's not, I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's World War Z-ish, because they continue with like a certain person's story, well, certain Elephant Man's story usually, throughout a couple different series. But yeah, definitely go pick those 3 up.
This definitely sounds interesting. With the holidays quickly approaching, many guys find themselves in a bind trying to decide what to give their special someone. We have with us today special guest April Gibson to give us a little insight into the female psyche.
All right, thanks for joining us, April.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, so as Andrew said, the holidays are swiftly approaching, and
Time's running out.
Time's running out for gifts. It's crunch time. So what do you suggest for all those guys, all the viewers at home that are watching this show right now and still have yet to get their girlfriend a gift?
Well, let's just ask Daniel. Have you gotten your girlfriend anything yet?
Actually, I have.
What'd you get her?
I got her jewelry. Crap.
No, that's good because I was gonna say jewelry's always a plus.
I know. See, I think.
Movies, CDs she's into. That's good too. Something that means something to your all's relationship, not just Gift cards, big negative.
Okay, so what if it's a gift card to, say, like Victoria's Secret? Because I wouldn't go to Victoria's Secret unless I was forced to, which I have been, and it's a horrible experience.
How does that benefit her, though?
Because she buy underwear. Everybody likes underwear.
But nobody wants underwear from their boyfriend. Maybe their husband, but not their boyfriend.
Okay, so gift cards a no. Jewelry, yes. Money probably calls under
No.
the same thing as
It's too easy.
yeah, and okay, when I think of relationships, I definitely don't think of easy. But anyway, so
Wow.
Dang.
yeah, all right. So what else? Money, no. Gift cards, no. Jewelry, yes. CDs, those are
Yes.
okay though.
A nice date. That's always. I know it's a little thing, girls. It's not something that you want on a pretty regular basis. But Christmas is definitely an occasion. You can make it like a Valentine's Day. Just do something special for her, that she knows. Hey, he does care. Not, oh, here's a gift card. Go get yourself something. You know.
So not necessarily to just buy her something and put under the tree, but to actually dress up nice and take her out to a fancy dinner somewhere, or just out on a date, go dinner and a movie. Right.
Of course.
Okay. So anything else?
It's about the best I got for you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure that'll be very helpful to all the guys at home, and we'll be sure to keep that in mind for the future.
Yeah. The Heroes cast is on a hiatus following a shortened season due to the writer's strike. We'll talk about the mid-season finale and our projections for the rest of the season.
So the writer's strike deeply affects us, especially in here, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that is, one of our segments on here. And they're justified, what they're doing. They deserve the money if you create something, somebody else, sells advertising on it, you should get the money for that. Because otherwise you're not, they wouldn't make the money first of all if you hadn't made your product.
Well, but either way, you already made it, and you already wrote it, and you already sold it, and you already got the price that you sold it for. So I don't understand. Maybe if you're asking for a little bit more, that'd be okay. But to justify this huge strike, it lasting this long and affecting this season so much, I don't think that's right.
Well, the amount of money that these parent companies make, like Viacom and, whoever owns NBC, and the small, they get little to no money from these things. And I think it's a little, you get the side deal, you maybe not necessarily get the price that you negotiated for your original, product, but you should at least get a certain royalty from it. You get all this big deal from recording artists that if people illegally download stuff and, people get sued for it, why not TV? It's just a different medium.
Well, I guess, but still, I don't really think that they're justified in taking this huge strike. The story arc for this season of Heroes, it was supposed to continue, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to go on to this, where the virus, it stopped now. It was supposed to continue. That was supposed to pretty much be the main story arc for the third chapter of Heroes, which
right.
Now they had to cut short.
Like last year, how they had the explosion of New York. That was the entire season's story arc. They weren't going to stop at mid-season then change it to something else.
Yeah, well, personally, as a personal point of view, I didn't care for the virus plot. Maybe it could have been because of the way it's set up due to the strike or whatever. But the whole concept of, a virus that killed everybody, I thought it was a bit ridiculous.
Right. I think that it's a good story, but it's getting really overdone.
Yeah.
And I think that I've been really, really excited for I Am Legend, which comes out next Friday in theaters. That's the 14th, or this Friday actually.
Yeah.
Today. So I've been really excited about that, but with all these different, end of the world scenarios from a virus, I just don't know that it's going to be novel enough to really catch my eye, but I'm still going to see it.
Yeah, well, what do you think about third chapter? Siler, obviously, he's either gotten part of his powers back or all of them. You see him take the cup, telekinesis, and now Maya is with Suresh and them.
Right.
And it's now separated from Sylar. So what do you see happening with that?
Well, personally, I think that Sylar is going to end up either joining forces with Adam, somehow unburying him, or Adam gets out somehow, and they join forces, or Sylar just takes an apprentice. Because it is called Villains, and as of right now, we only have Adam and Sylar.
Yeah.
And with the company kind of on the edge, we're looking for more villains if that's going to be the main focus of this.
Yeah, the company has this huge gray area of where their actual motivations are, if they're good, if they're evil. I mean, they track people and kidnap people, and yet they're stopping Adam from releasing a virus that kills people. They don't really seem to have like a direct motive for what they're going for. Plus, I mean, so what do you think Adam's gonna? Do you think he's gonna come back, or do you think he's dead?
Well, I think Adam's going to come back because he's too much of a dynamic character to just kill. I mean, we just found out that he wasn't a good guy. We were thinking, hey, maybe this guy has changed after these 400 years. Maybe he's really trying to stop this virus and that the company really is evil. And then it turns out that he's been trying to destroy humanity.
Yeah. Personally, I hope Sylar gets up. His character hasn't changed since the very beginning. His character has not developed while other characters have. They either have these new motivations, these new powers, they find new people, so they have a new cause. But Sylar's still the same old kidnap people, cut their brain open, steal their powers. Even when he didn't have powers, he didn't change.
And when he didn't have powers, he still tried to steal people's powers. So do you think that he's got those powers now, or was it part of his power that he could take it? And when he lost it, maybe...
Well, when he showed up in this past season, he comes back, he wakes up in Mexico, I guess, wherever in the, middle America that he appeared in, where they had him working on him. Instead of his regular theme, where it's the sound of the clock in the background, he had a broken clockwork theme. So my theory is that he only had, since it was a different strain of the virus, that maybe his powers were still there, but only halfway. Maybe he thought he could see how things work, but not really. Because whenever he looked at people, he looked at their heads. They always played the theme, but it never necessarily worked out for him.
Right. So do you think that he's got those powers now?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, to have, he's already clever enough. I mean, he's obviously very smart because he tricks people. He outwits people all the time. That's pretty much his main strength, as opposed to, when he's not using his powers for stuff. He always outsmarts people. I think him having Cadus's power, where he can just make an illusion, I think that'll completely detract from his character that he's built so far.
Right, because it's just gonna maybe turn him into what they're doing to Peter, and they're essentially making them the Superman of heroes.
Yeah.
They're giving him too many powers, too fast, and I really don't think that Peter should have been able to mind control Parkman.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit ridiculous. I mean, Parkman is obviously excelled at it. I mean, he has so much practice. He beat his father, who's been doing it for, decades. So he's obviously at such a skill that he shouldn't have been outwitted by somebody who just encountered the power.
Right. I also think that I like Sylar and I like his character, but he is starting to be a little one-sided. He always follows the same pattern. You think he's going to be good, you think he's going to maybe change his ways, or at least a little bit. And then he just says, no, I'm just going to stab you.
Yeah.
And he just kills somebody. And he just goes back to the way he was before. And it's like the first time it really added to him. But I think that this time it just distracted him a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're just doing the same thing over again.
Well, hopefully we see more of Hero and Claire and all of them next season. Hopefully the writer strikes, and hopefully writer strike's over by then. But I'm hoping that they had Hero's origins already planned out, and that doesn't affect that, because that's supposed to happen during this hiatus.
Right. There's been a lot of confusion going on lately because they haven't really stated what's actually going on with that. Because the Hero's evolution stuff online, which is all the branches of websites that come from the actual Hero site, you can go on there, nbc.com/heroes, and go to the Heroes 360 or Evolutions page and get links to all that. And it's really interesting because it takes you really in depth to the actual world. You can visit the websites of Primatech Paper or the Linderman Group and other forums and places like that. But also, like, they keep talking about all this stuff, and we don't really know what's going to happen. Like, with the Create Your Own Hero, it was totally different than everyone thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So we don't know what this Origins deal is. Like, they keep saying a live action show.
Yeah,
But-
and it's supposed to be live on the internet. So
Right.
I mean, I think what they've been really bad, and they're usually pretty good at marketing, but they've been really bad at explaining like a lot of stuff that surrounds that. Because a lot of the stuff they say on TV is very vague. It's just, go to
And Brad and
NBC.com.
Shirley,
I
officer,
really
come
hate
to the
that.
front office, please.
Switch to camera 1. Thank you.
Where'd I stop it? I
Go to
really hate that.
NBC.com. Yeah.
I mean, like, you go to NBC.com, and, I really hate that because, I mean, obviously I go to the Heroes website, but I don't know what's new. I don't know what they're trying to say. So it's not helping me, help them by getting into this thing because if I don't go to the website every day, obviously I'm not going to know what's updated. And it's just troubling because especially with the Create a Hero thing, is completely different than what they advertise.
Right. Well, either way, Heroes is still #1 on my television watching list.
Yep.
I love it, and I'm going to continue to love it until something else happens. So, everybody just keep your fingers crossed and hope that everything gets worked out with the writers and they get the show back on the air as soon as possible. Stephanie Yingst, our music correspondent, had to step out, but we have Dalton Palmer here filling in for her, and we're going to go ahead and get him over here and talk to you guys a little bit about what's going on. All right, welcome back, Dalton. We missed you those 2 minutes you were gone.
It's good to be back. It was a very confusing 2 minutes.
Okay, so, all right, first, before we get into the music, let's talk a little bit about Heroes. You watch Heroes?
Not really.
I didn't think so. Let's talk about music. All right, so what's going on, Dalton?
Well, with the holiday season approaching, a lot of people are, of course, listening to Christmas music, and if you go to any retail stores, that's all you're going to hear.
Of course.
But when it comes to technology with music, Microsoft's Zune has released a 4 gigabyte version, which is much slimmer, for $150.
Which is a lot cheaper than any iPod out there.
And not too long ago, Microsoft dropped the Zune, the normal one, the 30 gigabytes, to only $200, which still isn't exactly cheap, but it's better than $250,
So
and that's still cheaper than most iPods.
So how many gigabytes was that?
30.
And the first one was
4.
4. So for $50 more, you can go from 4 to 30 gigabytes. So it's 26. That's a lot for a little bit of money.
Well, yeah, but this one's also a lot slimmer, and if people,
Right. It just looks better.
yeah.
So, what I'm presuming, and how long ago did you say this came out?
It was early December, late November.
Okay, I'm guessing that they're going to release another one in the next month or so.
Right.
Because it's generally what they do with electronics. They release a crappy version, people buy it up, and then they release a one that's infinitely better. I mean, because you're not going to get that much space out of simply 26 megabytes. What is it? Megabytes? Gigabytes? Yeah. Well, it's just simply, everything's smaller. We got the technology to make something that big.
So-
That's what I'm guessing their game is.
Yeah.
Is that you're just making a smaller one. Trying to trick people that you go out and buy stuff when it first comes out. I think it's a dirty move.
It's a cheap
Yeah.
market.
It's done by a lot of
Yeah,
other
it's done
MP3
by a lot of
players, but
people.
I'm not going to go into naming names because I don't want to get called out.
Okay. All right. So are there any other features that stick out about the Zune?
Well, if you find another person with a Zune, which there's about 5 of them down in Jeffersonville, you can trade music and videos and pictures and all those things. And
Which is a really cool thing. But about the music, I've heard some downsides to that.
yes, you can only listen to it 3 times or within 3 days, but I haven't actually done this because nobody's ever had their firmware update with mine, so I haven't actually had to trade music. But I believe you can take it back to your computer and download that song, and it'll be normal, and then you can put it back on there.
Oh, so it's more or less a trial to get you to go
Yeah,
out and buy
because
it.
if I trade a song with somebody and I hate it, I'm not going to want to keep it on
Right.
there.
Which is, I guess that's good because, like we were talking about earlier, with the whole royalties things and with the artists, they don't have to worry about everybody just one person gets it and then trades it to their friend, and then they just network it around without actually having to pay for it.
Exactly.
Everybody get their money.
Everybody get their money.
And also, I don't know an exact date on it, but Apple released the iPod Touch, which is basically an iPhone without the phone.
Right.
Yeah.
Which-
And
Or
no
the
$100 bills.
Or the internet.
Or internet.
And
Or any of
phones.
the other, stuff that's probably not necessary.
Right.
Personally, I don't know if I really care for it because I'm not a big fan of touchscreens, to be honest.
Well, I think
I thought it was just a PDA with an enhanced phone service, really.
Yeah, I mean,
The touchscreen, it's been around for years with the PDAs. It's
I
pretty
mean-
much just an advanced PDA.
the only thing I really use touchscreen-wise is my DS, but
and you love that DS?
it's a very nice
A lot
handheld.
of people do. Okay, well, thank you once again.
Yep.
All right.
No, I mean Zoom.
All right. The newest revolution in tailgating technology is upon us. Prepare yourself for the motorized cooler. All right. It's really not that great.
It totally is, though. I don't even go tailgating, but I kind of want one of these.
Well, I kind of want one so I can just ride it around. But
Oh, yeah.
how practical is a little cooler with wheels and a motor?
No, what they really need is they need a hatch in the back, so while you're driving it, you can just.
See,
Of course, then you might be driving while intoxicated.
Would it really still count?
Probably.
I don't know. I don't
I don't know
you
if you're
could
still in
pull
public
over.
if you're on a scooter.
Well, it's not really a scooter. It's just a thing.
It's like a low riding scooter with the body of a cooler.
It's a super low rider. I guess it'd be kind of cool to see, but I wouldn't go out and pay the $500
I
for
think it
it.
depends on it. I think it ranged, what was it, $350 to $500?
Yeah, something
depending
like
on
that.
where you got it from. And although the $500 place did gift wrap it.
Which would be pretty great to have somebody open up a cooler with wheels and a motor on Christmas. Just unwrap it and sit down, have a drink, and drive away.
I think it really what it depends on is how fast it goes, how much weight it can pull sufficiently and still go to
Right? What if you get a
significant
really
speed.
big guy?
Yeah. Well, I didn't even think about that. But that and the contents
All
of
the
cooler.
stuff in the
A
cooler.
cooler gets pretty heavy. If you got a lot of ice, got a lot of drinks in it.
Right? You want to keep that stuff cool.
Yeah, especially depending on what you got in it. So
And with that motor, isn't that going to kind of defeat the purpose of a cooler? Isn't that going to make it like warm?
well, maybe it's not a very good picture though. I mean, the
That's
motor
true.
could be offset, but I doubt it. I don't know. Maybe it'd be good. Maybe you need to run up to someplace. And just run it up. Maybe you're camping. Who knows?
All
Who
right.
knows
Well,
what you're doing.
I guess maybe camping would work better.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting out in a parking lot, how far are you going to ride it?
Plus, yeah. I guess you're all next to your vehicles anyway.
Yeah. So it's not like you have to go so far to get a drink. Oh, I'm so famished. I cannot walk to my car. Let me ride. All right. All right, that's all for Tech Talk for this week. And now on to the moment you've all been waiting for. That's a drum roll. Okay. Lightning round.
All right. So, subject today is pretty much just group projects in general, but more specifically research papers. So, if you have a certain number of people that you're supposed to have in a group, and this has happened a lot, whether it's in a ball game or it's a group project or it's just something else where it involves people, and you have a certain amount of people that you're supposed to have, or it's preferable. If another person comes along and just kind of tacks themselves onto the group, that person works harder than everybody else and is supposed to be the best person in the group possible. That's just how it is, so that it makes you not look like a jerk. You're not a burden. That's what a decent person does. So if you come into a group, it's supposed to be better. And if the people in that group give you a suggestion, you don't talk back to them. It's just ridiculous. It's rude. It's just a jerk move. And you're just supposed to do your work sufficiently. You're supposed to do it well. You're not supposed to complain. You're supposed to, take advice from other people. It's just ridiculous. You don't go into a group and just mess it all up because you want to be a jerk. That's all I have to say. I'm Andrew Steele for Lightning Round. Thanks for watching. That's it for the second episode of Nacho Tacho.
The talk show. That's nachos.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here, huge success.